From Conor McGregor being ready to win a belt to Paddy Pimblett waiting very impatiently to get into the ring, here are the predictions about who will be moving from the UFC to WWE. First up, this fighter is the betting favorite with a plus line of plus 400, Derrick Lewis. He has a larger-than-life persona. He's lost 4 out of 5 matches, so rumors are swirling that the fighter is trying to minimize the damage to his reputation. And what better way to do it than deciding to switch to WWE? After all, this platform can ensure one thing, that Lewis is not taking octagon-level damages. Even though wrestling takes a toll on the body, it can't be compared to fighting. Fans aren't surprised by this prediction, though, because Lewis has managed to make a name for himself through his charismatic personality and insane knockout power. Plus, Derrick's shown some previous knowledge of WWE. Most notably, he mentioned The Undertaker in a post-fight interview and even said he'd be interested in joining the company. Next up, in most likely candidates, we have yet another charismatic heavyweight, Tai Tuivasa. This fighter's money line is sitting at the second highest mark. He's had to deal with back-to-back knockout defeats. First up, he was stopped by the UFC's interim champ, Cyril Gane. And right after, he faced a humiliating loss, getting knocked out in less than 60 seconds by a surging contender, Sergey Pavlovich. Tai's shoey is still the life of the party, though. When asked about his future move, Tai had this to say, "F yeah, I'll be the new Rikishi." Well, he seems super keen for a career change. Next up on the list of possible moves is a woman who surprisingly worked at Subway before finding fame as a UFC fighter, Meatball Molly McCann. She's following Tuivasa and is next in line to make the switch and become a part of the WWE. Right after McCann is a fellow Liverpool native, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Now, these two are polarizing personalities that have ended up dividing the fan base. With their heavy accents and opinionated characters, the two are sure to be a hit in the WWE. The organization has previously had wrestlers similar to them, who ended up performing surprisingly well. Plus, Paddy has even shown interest in the wrestling world back in 2022. In fact, he even got into a verbal disagreement with AEW World Champion MJF. This led to MJF going on to attend a Pimblett fight, too. The next addition on the list is surprising because this fighter is known to be open about his distaste for the UFC, Conor McGregor. This superstar is further down in the list, though. I guess we'll have to wait and see whether he'll ever make the transition to sports entertainment. But hey, nothing is stopping us from speculating. Still, though, there seems to be some evidence of this happening. The fighter has been teasing an appearance in the WWE world for a long time. Plus, fans noticed a huge hint Conor dropped on his social media. He posted a picture of himself on Twitter holding both the UFC and WWE gold right after the merger news dropped. This led to a pretty heated response from Paul Heyman, who called him a Roman Reigns wannabe. Ouch. Plus, one just needs to take a look at his UFC career to note that a big shift might be in order. He's lost 3 out of 4 matches, plus there was that career-threatening leg injury a couple of years ago. Maybe UFC will just end up being too big of a risk for this Irish fighting star. Even though he's been teasing a return in the octagon against Michael Chandler, it seems like his heart's not in it anymore. Conor has simply refused to lose weight. Plus, he still hasn't joined the drug testing pool of the USADA, so it's highly likely that the former double champion has called it quits from full-on fighting and wants to make the transition somewhere less demanding. After all, Conor can end up honing his skills on the mic in the world of pro wrestling. After all, he is one of the best trash talkers in the UFC. Anyway, there are other notable names following Conor, too. This includes his longtime rival, Dustin Poirier. After him, there's Amanda Nunes and Israel Adesanya. Izzy even went as far as to copy the moves of the WWE wrestlers in the opening of the UFC 287 by spitting out water into the air before entering the ring. What a power move! Plus, there's even the current UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones. This fighter has a bit of history with WWE star Brock Lesnar. Jones has tried to book a fight with the Beast on various occasions, and now fans think they might be seeing it play out in a WWE ring instead of the UFC octagon. But there's yet another fighter who's teased a move to WWE, and the legendary fighter in question is Nate Diaz. The American fighter once stated that he'd love to fight WWE legend Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and as soon as fans heard this, rumors started swirling that the fighter is planning to leave the octagon for the squared circle. Plus, Diaz added fuel to the fire by posing for a picture with WWE's Chief Content Officer Triple H and Chairwoman and ex-CEO McMahon, with a cryptic caption, "We'll see what's about to happen next." Of course, now that the merger's been announced, no one can rule out that Nate might be deciding to make the move to WWE. So as you can see, there's a lot of hype over who will be going to join the WWE. After all, several UFC greats have decided to make the switch, and they had pretty good stints too. Just take a look at this UFC Hall of Famer, Ronda Rousey. She linked up with the WWE in 2018 and has been dominating the women's division ever since. Ronda was always inspired by the world of women's wrestling. She'd even gotten her nickname Rowdy from the 80s icon Rowdy Piper, so it's no surprise that she moved over to WWE when her career in the octagon ended. In 2015, it was widely thought that she was unbeatable, but when she suffered a bad loss to Holly Holm and lost her title in the process, she didn't seem so unbeatable anymore. After one final loss to Amanda Nunes in December 2016, Rousey retired from the MMA and signed with WWE. But Rowdy Ronda is just one of the big-name fighters who decided to head over to the WWE. Last of all, this fighter had a whole lot of ups and downs after deciding to opt for WWE. Brock Lesnar, the Beast incarnate, made a jaw-dropping return in 2012, and since then he's gone on to be a trailblazer. The fighter broke The Undertaker's legendary winning streak. He's won both the WWE title and the Universal title on various occasions. To be honest, no fighter has achieved as much success in the squared circle as Lesnar. Maybe with more fighters moving to the WWE, there might just be another Brock in the making. People aren't just betting on who will join the WWE, but also what their likely nationality will be. The USA is at the top spot. It's holding the highest position of -125, and right behind it, we have the UK. But Australia seems to have double the chances. After this, the final two nations being offered up are Brazil and Russia. Now, besides wondering which fighters will be joining the UFC, there are a whole lot of other questions that have come up after the merger, such as, is Dana White going to be involved in the WWE programming in any way? Or will Vince McMahon have a big role in the WWE after all his scandals? And then there are the questions about Dana White's infamous slap-fighting league. Well, no matter what the answers are, it's true, it'll be interesting to watch. So who do you think will be the first one to make the big switch from the UFC to the WWE? These fighters are most likely to move from the UFC to WWE.